Interlude. Where do ponies go when they die? First, what's going on? I told you, you're dead. This is the afterlife, and I'm God. The human was deadly serious as he told the now deceased Princess Celestia the grim news. It seemed almost surreal to be told this. You're not God, Celestia replied with an amused laugh. Blasphemy! You're lucky I don't cast you out or smite you or something. The princess backed away from this, no longer laughing. First remained just as serious as ever. The bottom line is, he continued, your life ended about 5 minutes ago, under the ministrations of my father, Second. Celestia frowned, remembering the event clearly. He was right. Second had killed her. She remembered it vividly. Yes, she said sadly. I remember now. Now it was First's turn to frown. You ruined the sequence, he'd said simply. The what now? You skipped your line and ruined it. I wanted to do this cue reference properly. None of the other ponies I've had here in over 1,000 years knew me sufficiently enough to do this scene right. And then you come along, the one pony who could possibly have the good knowledge to question my godhood and make the comment about the universe not being so badly designed, and you fuck it up. First turned away from her in a huff. Honestly, princess, do you want to depress me? Because that's what you're doing. For a moment there was just awkward silence. Celestia broke with a question. What are you? First turned back to her, giving her a half smile. The next tier, princess. If you're the god of Equestria, then let's call me the Elder God. Elder God? Our origin lies outside your reality, but yours is rooted firmly in our design. Humans made an entire universe completely by accident. We didn't know we wielded such power. The multiverse is a big place, though, princess. Everything we decided, it became so here. Not just what we wrote or drew, though. Even words of the creators shape your reality. Words of the creators? You're talking about writing and drawing. Tell me, what are we exactly? How were we created? Your father never told us. He just dangles information over our heads with claims that we never understand. Can you please explain to me what it is he's so determined we never know? There was a long pause, as First looked off to the side, seemingly staring into the endless mist. Princess, do you know that I really do respect you? But... No, really, I genuinely do. I know I may not have shown it during our lives, but my heart has always went out to you. So often were people caught in the cries of tyrant and troll, that they would sometimes forget that was their own cynicism and dark humor talking. The creators didn't make you either of those things, though. What did they make me as, then? A good pony, Celestia. Sometimes I think we forget just how good you really are. Lord First turned back to face her properly again, now looking much sadder. But you know something? I believe in you. I believe that you're a stronger man than that. I think I can trust you with the information, and I can trust that you won't go mad from the revelation. What makes me hesitate to tell you is that even if you don't go mad, this will change you. He looked sternly at her. Celestia, do you love your subjects? The princess was surprised by the question. Of course I do. I love every single one of them, she replied. Do you care for them? Yes. Would you love and care for them no matter what they were, even if they were all little more than cockroaches, but were still the same inside? Would you treat them any different than you would before? Celestia hesitated for a second, but nonetheless replied with certainty. No. I ask you, princess, because if I tell you everything, I could change the way you look at your little ponies forever. And I don't want you to ever stop loving them, because they need you. Equestria simply couldn't survive you forsaking it. The princess became angry. I would never do such a thing. I will always care for all my subjects, no matter what they are. First smiled warmly at her and held out a hand to her. Then come with me, Celestia, he said. Let me share the secrets of the Elder Gods. Second lowered the gun. The corpse of Princess Celestia of Equestria fell down unceremoniously, left in a bloody heap just in front of the throne. Everyone in the room stared with wide eyes and open mouths. Luna was just crying silently. Second ignored her and reloaded the gun. "That was very therapeutic," he said. "I, for one, feel much better now." He turned to face the rest of the room. "Now, if the rest of you don't mind, I'll be leaving now. I have an apocalypse to plan. Luna, I'll be back in 5 days to plaster your brains all over the walls as well. See to it that you're prepared. Let's go, Slisk." Second threw the shotgun into his left hand and snapped his fingers with his right. The moment he did, the magic restraining bolt around Lady Arcane Arts' horn popped and flew off, freeing the possessed mare and the alien living inside her. Slisk stepped forward gingerly, nervous of all the guards around him. He looked about at the accusing glares of the other ponies there, his gaze finally meeting Broadsword, who was cuffed at the hooves and being watched by Captain Chainmail. "Doc, you're not leaving, are you?" he said sadly.
"I'm sorry."
"Come on, Doc, you know I never turn my back on you."
"Broadsword, we've known each other for a day."
"Yeah, but we're still friends, right? Friends stick together. Second isn't your friend. He just killed the princess. Going with him can only lead to trouble."
"You betrayed the princess just by hosting me."
"Never. I'm always loyal to the princess."
"My goal was to possess the princesses. We are working against each other. You cannot possibly have remained loyal to both of us. If it came down to it, who would you have chosen?"
"I could too have remained loyal to you both. I could just refuse to choose." Slisk paused.
"You're something special, Broadsword. I find your dedication touching."
"Please, don't leave, Doc. You'll end up regretting it." The crazy alien sighed loudly and turned to face the human.
"Second, can we do this another time?"
Second raised an eyebrow. "Found another outlet for your perversions, have you?"
"I don't even like ponies,"
he protested. "And yet you like humans."
"What do you want, a signed apology? It's your fault for having 2 legs all the time."
What a weird thing to be attracted to.
"I don't have to justify myself to you."
I would argue that you do.
"Well, I don't. Screw you."
Second shrugged. "Alrighty then, do whatever you want. But be warned that you no longer have my protection from either the authorities or the zombies that are going to be here later. You're not going to enjoy that, trust me. Do you know what happens to you if your host dies while you're still inside?"
"No, that's never happened before."
"Well, actually I do know, and believe me, it is not pleasant." The human slung his shotgun over his shoulder and walked across the large chamber doors to the exit, a casual swagger in his step. Halfway between him and the door, though, a pony ran in front of Second to block his exit. "No!" said Captain Chainmail. "You're not leaving! You don't just get to waltz in here, kill the malevolent ruler of Equestria, and then just walk out! Surrender now, or I swear I will gut you like a fish!" To punctuate his threat, the captain reached to his side and pulled out his sword. It wasn't exactly an effective weapon, but for some reason the blade kept bringing him good luck today. Second smirked slightly at the sight of the pony in his way. He held out his arms to either side of him confidently. "Go on. Try it," he dared. "I can hit you, remember? I'm the one who stabbed you this morning. You seemed pretty freaked out that time. Do you really want that to happen again?" "Oh, I'm so fucking scared," the human replied. "Yes, I do remember. You actually can hit me. Big deal. This isn't the climax, so you can't do shit to me yet. We're all at the low point of the story, where all the talky stuff happens. You need stuff to talk about, though, like dear old Sully's death. I think I have enough fight in me to kill a few innocent bystanders to generate conversation, though. If you want to fight me in the middle of this crowd of innocent ponies who could easily be killed by a straight attack, by all means try it. Lord knows I don't care anymore." Captain Chainmail hesitated. Newman just rolled his eyes at the pony and walked past him, pushing the captain to the side unceremoniously. Celestian first walked through the mist together. The chill air and the cold stone beneath the princess's hooves gave the whole place a feeling of emptiness and solitude. She wanted to ask about it so very much, but it just seemed inappropriate to break the silence as the human led her through the white void. They came to a stop. First raised a hand and snapped his fingers. Celestia almost had a recoil as a sudden wind blew through out of nowhere. Within moments, the wind died down again, and the mists had disappeared with it, leaving behind them an entirely new landscape. Celestia's eyes widened with shock as she saw that the two of them now stood atop a large cliff overlooking a lush green valley. Below, grassy fields stretched out for miles. Trees and flowers and bushes of many exotic varieties were stretched around, and the fields were dotted with large hills and small wooded areas. A river ran through the valley as well, twisting and turning all over the landscape and forming into a lake or waterfall at points. What caught Celestia's eye, though, most, however, was not the land that lay before her, but its inhabitants. Spread out across the valley, covering it almost end to end, laughing and frolicking, were billions upon billions upon billions of ponies. The vastness of it all was almost too much to take in.
Said the princess. I can't.
She was breathless. First gave her a weary smile. It's my greatest work, he said. A project I spent all of 12 minutes on. This, princess, is the afterlife. Well and truly, my father has a great hand in early matters. The majority of his power rests in his influence over world building, over the cosmos, and over certain individuals that you may have clashed with. Me, my power is the power over the pony afterlife. This is my domain, and where I'm strongest. First snapped his fingers again. A picture of water and two glasses appeared in his left, floating in the air. He grabbed the glass out of the air and held it up, while the picture poured water into it for him. Drink, princess? Celestia grabbed the other glass with her magic, as the picture poured itself for her too. First downed his glass. Basically, you could say that I've become God in the conventional sense. You're impressive, princess, don't get me wrong. You've got the power to back up your title. But you don't really get the full scope of godhood. I, on the other hand, deal with all that. The spiritual immortality, the power over creation, the power over afterlife, and yes, even prayers. He tapped the side of his head. I can hear 'em all up in here, he exclaimed. Not that they're mine, of course. Ponies consider you to be their god. You can't hear the prayers, though. You aren't psychic. That means all of your mental fan mail gets redirected to me. Strangely, though, at first it was like having 1,000 angry bees in my head. After 1,000 years, though, I gradually learned to sort through it. Now it's just a low buzz. I can concentrate on answering individual ones, with some help, of course. The princess gulped down her drink in a single swig. First snapped his fingers again to make the glasses vanish. If you look down there, you'll see every single pony who had ever lived. If you move on to the valleys beyond that, you'll meet every griffin, every manticore, every zebra, every dragon. Well, almost every dragon anyway. Only the pre-eclipse crisis ones ended up here, obviously. The rest of them are right where you left them. First looked sideways at the princess, giving her a dark look. Celestia shuddered as she remembered the event he was referring to. Nevertheless, he continued, undaunted, every pony who dies ends up here, and from my death onward, every pony who arrives here meets me in the mist before I escort them in. It's a kind of tradition. This place is based off some ideas from another afterlife that some humans believe in. I will walk you through the Valley of Shadows, they say. This is a famous quote from a human holy book. Some take that to mean that the path to heaven means you have to walk through hell first. The mists back there, that's hell. Celestia just remained silent. She looked over the valley below, at the happy faces of all the ponies down there. She tried to see if she could recognize any of them. Would Twilight Sparkle be down there? She asked. No. Celestia looked up at first with surprise. She didn't stay, he exclaimed. Her and the rest of the elements took up residence elsewhere. You won't find them in my afterlife. They became part of a different one. What do you mean by that? First shrugged. I don't know. First? I mean it, I really don't know. This isn't like what my father did, where he knows the answers and then chooses not to tell you. I genuinely have no idea where the spirits reside. I can see everything that happens in the mortal world, and I can feel everything that happens here. But they're in a space between. I can't find no trace of them. Celestia paused. Lord First, this is all very interesting, but it doesn't answer my question. What is our true nature? What is the thing that you and Lord Second are so desperate to hide from us? First looked at her briefly and walked over to the very edge of the cliff. Suddenly, he called out across the valley in a loud and booming voice that dwarfed even Spike and Luna's roll of Canterlot voice combined.
Calling Colgate!
There was a flash of light nearby, and a blue unicorn with a mane evenly split into white and blue sides stood next to them. Celestia noticed that she had an hourglass cutie mark. "You called, my lord?" she asked. First turned back to Celestia. "This is Colgate. She was a citizen of Ponyville over 1,000 years ago, and personally knew your student Twilight Sparkle in those days of her studies on friendship." Celestia blinked, not entirely sure what the purpose of showing her this pony was. Before she could say anything, though, First turned back to the cliff top.
Calling Blue Mane!
There was another flash of light, and suddenly a second unicorn appeared next to them. Princess Celestia had to do a double take. This one was exactly like Colgate, right down to the cutie mark, but she lacked the white parts in her mane. Other than that, though, they could have been twins. "Blue Mane, do you and Colgate have any relation at all?" First asked. No, my lord, they both replied in unison. Damn, that's creepy. Lord First looked over his shoulder and back to the edge of the cliff.
Calling Bright Smiles!
A third unicorn joined them. This one looked just like Colgate, but she had a different cutie mark, this time one of a wagon wheel.
Calling White Mane!
A fourth unicorn. This one was just Blue Mane again, with a white mane instead of blue.
Calling Ramona!
A fifth unicorn. There wasn't even any difference this time. This one was just Colgate again.
Calling Winter Blue, Icy Blue, and Desperado.
3 more ponies joined them. This time, they weren't all unicorns. One was an earth pony, one was a Pegasus. Other than that, they were all identical to Colgate. The third one was still a unicorn, but was wearing a hat. In fact, had the same hat as her cutie mark. Celestia was just staring in silent shock at the large collection of nearly identical ponies. First stepped in again. "Just to clarify, none of you have any relation at all?" he asked. The answer was universal. No. Dismissed. The ponies all turned to leave again, most of them teleporting or flying away, except the one earth pony who stumbled around for a bit before remembering that she arrived here by walking up a large set of stone steps, and leaving to find those stone steps again. Once they were all alone, once more, Celestia looked at the human again. "What was that?" she asked. "That was me demonstrating a terrible truth," First replied. "And that terrible truth is, not every pony is made special. Colgate was an original. She was designed by human hands. All the others are knockoffs, her clones, her recolors. The truth is that your universe only exists in its capacity to entertain humans, and the humans that made it put no effort into making them." Celestia was horrified. That's terrible," First nodded sadly. "And it's only gonna get worse from here," he replied. "If you'll come with me, Celestia, I'll explain to you a concept called the fourth wall."